Hello everyone. As of yesterday, we have discussed about Newton's first law, and we have also discussed what is resultant force, and we have also discussed what is impulse, what is movement, what is couple. So all those examples and applications and all those little bit formulas and the units are very important, which we are going to get in our 11th and 12th class also. So please revise that and try to learn them, so which are useful for us in our today's class. Now we are going to continue with our Newton's second law. Newton's second law. What Newton's second law tells that the force applied is directly proportional to the rate of change of momentum. The force applied is directly proportional to the rate of change of momentum. Rate. What is rate? Rate means something related with time. Change of momentum. Momentum we have seen in our previous class, mass into velocity. Linear momentum is mass into velocity. So force is directly proportional to rate of change of momentum. Now let us see what he has told exactly with some given formulas. So this law also gives the amount of force. So this law is also called law of force. Newton's second law is also called law of force, because you can tell how much amount of force is applied. Is it 10 Newton or 20 Newton or 100 Newton? You can easily calculate with Newton's second law. Now what did Newton tell? That we are going to discuss. Let m equal to mass of moving body, some car or bus, something, anything of your wish. Next, u is the initial velocity, and v is the final velocity. And one more point is t. T is the time interval. Now what did he tell by the law? He told, and one more point, initial momentum. What is initial momentum? I told you in our previous class, we denoted with P. So Pi means initial momentum is mass into velocity. Velocity where initial. So initial means starting stage. Mu. So next, final momentum. Final momentum is Pf. So final means F. So momentum, the symbol is P. So mv. Next, change in momentum. Change in momentum is delta P. What is this delta means? Final minus initial is called delta P. So if you want something in change in momentum, change in velocity, change in acceleration. So change in momentum, you got delta P. If change in acceleration, delta A. Change in velocity, delta V. So anything if you change final, so it will be final minus initial. Here final momentum minus initial momentum. So delta P is equal to final minus initial, Pf minus Pi. So what is Pf? Mv minus Mu. So this is your change in momentum. Clear? Now note this down. Okay. These are the terms required to derive our Newton's second law. Without all these terms you cannot derive our Newton's second. So what did our statement tell? Force is directly proportional to rate of change of momentum. Rate means what did it tell? It is dependent on time. What is dependent on time? Rate of change of momentum. Change of momentum. Change of momentum, what did we do here? Delta P. I told you with time. So delta P by T. So this is called Newton's second. This is our Newton's force is directly proportional to rate of change of momentum. Rate of change of momentum. So F is directly proportional to, as delta P we got mv minus mu by T. Clear? Now to remove this proportional we include some proportionality constant. Okay, to remove this proportional symbol we introduce some proportionality constant, which is F is equal to K m of v minus u by T. I have taken m common from this both. This K is called proportionality constant. K equal to proportionality constant. K is called proportionality constant. K is equal to 1 for all systems. All systems, any, if you take anywhere, any situation, K will always be 1. That is what this means. So what if you apply K equal to 1? F is equal to K is 1. So what is left? M of V minus U by T. V minus U by T. Now you know what is displacement. You know what is the you have to know first what is difference between distance and displacement. Distance means what? Suppose if you want to measure the length of this pen, so if you'll take a scale, you'll put it put near this and measure it from 0 to some for example let it be 10 centimeters. So this 0 to 10 is your distance. Fine, 0 to 10 is your distance, which has only magnitude. 10 centimeters is the magnitude. Now what is displacement? Displacement means shortest distance. Now what is shortest distance? Shortest distance means, suppose here you have your Don Bosco school, and here you have Pattukottai, and here you have Chennai, and here you have Tanjore. So what do we do? If you want to go to from Pattukottai to Don Bosco, what do we do? From Pattukottai directly we go to Don Bosco. This is called shortest distance, is called displacement. Now here, suppose if you want to now let us see distance. Now from Pattukottai if you go to Chennai, from Chennai again to Tanjore, then if you go to Don Bosco, this total length what you are traveling is called distance. Clear? Displacement means shortest distance. Here displacement is a vector, distance is a scalar. Scalar means what all I am speaking out, just note it down. Distance is a scalar quantity, displacement is a vector quantity. Scalar means it has only magnitude but no direction. Vector means it has both magnitude and direction. Clear? Fine. Now this is difference between distance and displacement. Let us see velocity. Velocity means distance by time, or velocity, speed is a scalar quantity, velocity is a vector quantity. So velocity means displacement by time, displacement by time. So velocity means displacement by time. Now next thing is, note it down till here. This is still velocity. Now from velocity we derive acceleration. Acceleration means change in velocity by time. Acceleration means change in velocity by time. So from displacement you get velocity, from velocity you get acceleration, from velocity you get acceleration. Velocity is displacement by time, and acceleration is change in velocity by time. So all these are vector quantities, they have direction and magnitude also. Why I am telling this to you? Because what I told, acceleration means change in velocity by time. Here what is v minus u? V is final velocity, u is the initial velocity. Is this change in velocity by time? So what can I replace this whole thing with? What can I replace? Can I write this v minus u by t? So this is what I have. So I can write F equal to ma. This formula is very, very important in your 10th class and your 11th class also. It comes on repeating repeatedly. So force is equal to mass into acceleration. This is the derived formula from your second law. This is not second law, this is derived formula from second law. Here, what is the second law? Force is directly proportional to rate of change of momentum. This is your second law. From that statement you have derived this formula. Clear? F equal to ma. Now what is the unit of force? SI unit of force is Newton. SI unit of force is Newton, and CGS unit is dyne. Now what is the unit here? For mass it is kg. In SI unit I'm doing it for this. Acceleration is meter per second square. Acceleration is, here displacement means meter, this is velocity is meter per second, and again acceleration is meter per second square. Clear? Acceleration due to gravity. What is that acceleration due to gravity? We have a specific value, 9.8 meters per second square. So SI unit is this one, and CGS unit is for mass. In CGS units, what is for mass? Gram. And for meter, what is in CGS unit? Centimeter per second square. Gram, centimeter per second square. This is the units for F equal to ma. Clear? Note this down. Fine. Now we have some specific definitions which you need to remember, and they can be asked for 1 mark or 2 marks, or even your fill in the blanks or chooses. So what that is? First definition is 1 Newton. 1 Newton. What is this? 1 Newton means the amount of force required for a body of mass 1 kg produces an acceleration of 1 meter per second square. What did he tell? The amount of force required for a body of mass 1 kg produces an acceleration of 1 meters per second square. Simply you can, this 1 Newton, from where did it come? Force. Force is equal to ma. M means 1 kg. Mass 1 kg, acceleration 1 meters per second square. So if you combine that both the things, the amount of force required for a body of mass 1 kg, the body mass is 1 kg, produces an acceleration 1 meter per second square. Produces some acceleration which is 1 meter per second square. This is the definition of 1 Newton. Next, similarly, what will be for 1 dyne? What will be for 1 dyne? 1 dyne. Same, the amount of force required for a body of mass 1 gram, because dyne is our CGS unit. So 1 gram produces an acceleration of, in CGS unit, length is measured in centimeter per second square. So this is our definition in 1 dyne. Definition of 1 dyne. Now 1 Newton is equal to 10 power 5 dyne. This is very important relation. 1 Newton is equal to 10 power 5 dyne. Note this down. Okay. Next definition is unit force. Unit force. Unit force. Now you need to know what is this unit. Unit force, unit mass, unit energy, all this unit means 1. Unit means 1. So let us see the definition. The amount of force required to produce an acceleration of 1 meter per second square in a body of mass 1 kg is called unit force. Unit force. What did I tell? Unit means everything is 1. So here acceleration is 1 meters per second and mass is also 1 kg. So that is why it is called unit force. Nothing is there. You just need to remember force. Force, what is force? Mass into acceleration. So our mass here is 1 kg and acceleration is 1 meter per second square. That is why we are calling it as unit force. Okay. Next one is gravitational unit force. Gravitational unit force. Now what is this gravitational unit force? Means 1 kg force. This is called 1 kg force. What is this 1 kg force means? 1 kg, I am writing it same. Now force I can write what is the force in gravity? What is the gravitational force? 9.8 meter per second square. 9.8. So our force is 9.8 meter per second square and the mass is 1 kg. So here kg is there. Kg is the unit for mass and this is our acceleration. So what can I write? Can I write ma? So ma is F equal to ma. So can I write 1 Newton, 1 kgf is 1 Newton. 1 kgf is not 1 Newton, 9.8 Newton. Sorry, here 9.8 is there, right? So 9.8 Newton. 1 kilo force. 1 kilo force is equal to 9.8 Newton. Clear? Now similarly, 1 gram force, 1 gram force is equal to 1 gram, and force will be 980. Gravitation will be 980 centimeter per second square. Again, here mass is there, here acceleration is there. Can I write 1 gram force is equal to 980 Newton? Sorry, 980 dyne, because this is in CGS unit. SI unit of force is Newton. CGS unit of force is dyne. Clear? Note this down. Now, our next definition is impulse. What is this impulse? A large amount of force acting in a short interval of time is called impulse. A large amount of force acting in a short interval of time is called impulse. Now this impulse is denoted with J. J is equal to force into time. J is equal to force into time. Now by Newton's second law, what can we tell? So can I replace this F into T by, what is Newton's second law? Rate of change of momentum. Newton's second law is rate of change of moment. So F is equal to delta P by T. So can I write this in here in place of F? So J is equal to delta P by T into T. So T gets cancelled. So finally you can write J is equal to delta P. What is J? Impulse. So you can tell impulse is equal to change of momentum. Impulse is equal to change of momentum. Understood? Now SI unit, what is the SI unit for impulse? SI unit for impulse, force is Newton and T is second, Newton second. So this is your SI unit for impulse. Newton, how can you write? Mass into acceleration. What is mass? kg. And what is for acceleration? Meter per second square. Meter per second square. And again you have time. So what is time? Unit for Newton is kg into meter by second square. So here also one more s is there. So 1s and 1s cancel. So what is left? kg meter per second. This is the SI unit for impulse. Clear? Note this down. Now we have some examples for this impulse. Examples for impulse. Our first example is, suppose you have suppose in a game of cricket, your fielder is there. A batsman will hit the ball, and if the fielder is ready to catch the ball, so what does he do? He will not just put his hand to catch the ball like this. He will catch the ball, and with the same velocity he will be pulling his hands down. Why? Because to reduce the velocity, reduce the velocity, and with what force the ball is coming, to reduce the force also is pulling his hands down. If he just puts his hands like this, so the ball will fall in his hands with greater effort, with greater force. That is why he will just catch the ball and pull his hands down with the force. So with this, the amount of force is reduced. That is one of the example for. So you can write cricketer catching a ball with high velocity and one more thing is, in your cycle, suppose your cycle is there, and in near the tire there is a suspension. Suppose this is your tire, here your suspension is there. So what if you go into a speed breaker, what does it do? This spring compresses and it comes out after you come out of the speed breaker. So that compression is called as impulse. That compression and going back is called impulse in our second example. That is one of your example for impulse. Now the next topic is Newton's third law. Now what is Newton's third law? Newton's third law. What Newton's third law is? Newton's third law is, for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. Now let me give you an example. Suppose you are there and your friend is there. So if you want to slap him, the amount of force you apply on his cheek by your hand, and the same amount of force with which his cheek will apply on your hand. So the amount of force you are applying on the cheek and the amount of force the cheek is applying on your hand. So action and reaction. This is your Newton's third law. For every action there is a equal and opposite reaction. For every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. With how much force you hit him, the same force is applied on your hand also. That is what Newton's third law tells us. And one more example, if you have a ball and if you hit it to the wall, how much force you apply to hit the wall, the same force the same force you will get to your hand. So you call it as rebound. So how much force you throw, the same force the ball comes back. Clear? Now there is one more example. First example what I told is your slapping your friend, slapping someone. Second example is ball hitting the wall. Next, third example is, suppose a bird is there. It wants to fly. So what does it do? With its wings it will push the air. With its wings it will push the air. While it pushes, it goes up, and the air also tries. The bird is pushing the air and the air is also pushing the bird. So first case is bird with its wings, it is pushing the air, and the reaction is air pushing the wings. So that is how bird is able to fly. bird flying with its wings. And one more fourth example is, suppose you are in a swimming pool or a river or lake somewhere. If you want to swim, what do? You will put your hand and pull the water back. Why do you pull? Because you have to go forward. You'll put your hand and pull the water behind. Now with how much force you are pulling the water will also push you forward. Okay, so the fourth example is swimming, right? So finally, every action, so you are pushing the water, so equal and opposite reaction, water is also pushing you front. So this is your Newton's third law. So we'll stop it here, and in our next class we'll go with some more content. Thank you.